Hey everyone, so what I'm showing you is a completed restoration on this Bosch 4000 table saw, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. So what I'm going to do in this video is just recap everything that I did to restore this table saw back to pretty top condition. So the first thing I did, as you remember, the tabletop was in really bad shape. So I took some sandpaper, sanded it down really well, polished it up with some chrome and metal polish, and then I threw some paste wax on the top to finish it all off. And as you remember before, there's a lot of oxidation on the top, and so that's all gone. And so the top's really smooth, and so anything that I cut on this table saw will slide very easily across it. The other thing, as you remember, the base down here was all cracked up. So there was a big chunk mixing in the corner there. Also around the back, the whole back side, it was pretty much just destroyed in the back. So I got a brand new base from an online retailer, and there you have it. There's a brand new base on this table saw. A couple other things I did on the top. These rails were all faded. That's just from use. It's no big deal. It wasn't like those were really neglected. It's just what happens over time when you use a table saw, of course. And it's a tool that gets used and it gets abused also. But so I painted the rails a gloss black. That turned out really nice. Same thing on the side and on the other side, gloss black. There's a rip fence. Painted this portion a gloss black, and then use a hammered paint on this shaft and on the handle up here. And this is a gloss black here. I also added the Bosch insert here for the handle. I changed out this indicator here. So those pieces turned out really nicely. The blade insert, as you remember, was faded. There was barely any red left on it. So I painted that a gloss red using an automotive paint, and that came out really nice and shiny. I ended up polishing that to a shine. A couple things I had to do, or a few things I had to do on this table saw. I needed some parts for it. There was just a lot of missing parts on this table saw. So this is brand new. This handle down here, I don't know if you can see that, but this handle right here is brand new. The blade guard on the top is brand new, and I also put a brand new plug on it. And so that's pretty much the extent of the restoration. What I'm going to show you now is the mechanics of it. Some things I did mechanically to get it working right also. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the blade insert, just because right now this blade guard isn't positioned correctly. So I'm having a little trouble with the table saw blade moving up and down. I'm going to go ahead and remove this insert. And before, this blade wasn't moving up and down very smoothly. It was grinding a lot. So that's all lubed up. I used some white lithium grease to lube that up so that it moves up and down fairly easily now. The other thing I did was on this extension table. The extension table, I had to actually pull that with two hands to get it to slide out. So now I just, one hand, and it slides. And all I did there was put some bearing grease right along the guide here and on this side here. And I lubed up also the edges of the portion that are attached to this table. So there's a lot of grease on here, and it just slides really well now. The last thing I did probably about a week ago is I ordered this Bosch red folding table saw table saw stand there. And so that was the last finishing touch that I did on this table saw. I forgot to mention too, the labels on the front. I transferred the labels from the old base onto this new base. And how I did that was just I took a putty knife. I tried using a heat gun at first on one of the labels on the back, and that really almost it pretty much destroyed the label, and the label was pretty much faded anyway, so I didn't really care. But I used a putty knife and gradually, just kind of got underneath the corner and just slid along the label until they popped off. I had to actually take a reciprocating saw and cut along there and along there, so I could pull that out first and then use a putty knife to lift the labels out. So I transferred all those labels onto this base. The only label that I didn't have, or that was in bad shape, was that label right there. And coincidentally, that was the only label that the online retailer had in stock. So that worked out pretty well. But so that's pretty much the end of this whole series of videos on the 4000 table saw restoration. Overall, in terms of cost, I spent $50 for the table saw, and then I probably put another $325 into it. So I didn't, come out smelling like a rose on this project, but it was still fun, and I got to see this all the way through, and I got a pretty much a near new table saw, that works great, and hopefully I'll get a lot of years out of it. So thanks for watching.